Previously on Balls.
Zeca Marques.
Neal.
Zeca, we just spoke to your brother from another mother on another telephone number. My writing's terrible, mate. I think we phoned the wrong number, Zeca. But I have just spoken to your friend Roger Dessar. I was just saying to people, didn't you and Roger play for the same team out the south of Joburg at one point? What team was that you used to play for? You were a left back, weren't you?
Yeah, I used to play left back. Yeah.
Where was that? Troyville?
I used to play for Neal. I used to play Troyville.
Troyville, that's it.
Yeah.
Mate, when we played Troyville, I was at Berea Park at the time. I think Roy Hodgson was around as a coach at the time.
There you go.
Mate, and we used to be so nervous. If you went south of Joburg to the Portuguese lads, the Lebanese lads, we'd be scared. We'd be scared as anything. And Gavin Hunt and Mark Batchelor and Mark Williams and I were at the Wings of Change Golf Day talking about exactly that and about the changing face of South African football. But Zeca, you haven't just gone from left back to coaching. You've gone to the top of the league this week, mate. I'm looking at the table in front of me. The Swai, the Dubé birds are flying.
Yeah, great feeling. I think it's testament to what we've done for the last 4 games. I think our performances have been solid. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the win that we would have loved against Chiefs because we ended up drawing. And obviously against Amazulu, somehow that game slipped to us. But I'm happy with our performance so far. I think they're solid. And yesterday we proved it once again against a very good team.
Well, mate, Supersport United were flying. 3 wins from their first 3 games, then a tiny hiccup, and then you guys went and beat them last night. Gavin Johnson has a great squad there. It's not just Gavin Hunt's squad; he's actually added to that with 4 or 5 astute signings, to Sapala amongst them. Mate, who's going to win? Who's going to win the league this season with Chiefs and Pirates? I know Pirates have got a lot of games in hand, but Chiefs and Pirates kind of down below you guys. Amazulu Supersport and Moroka Swallows at the top. Is it going to be the case that we're going to break the duopoly of the 2 Soweto Giants? You guys, much older than Kaizer Chiefs. Do you think you can do it?
Well, the one guarantee I can give you or show you is that we're going to try to upset the apple cart. There's no doubt about that. We're going to go out there. We've got the ambition now. The players we've got the vision. And the players are still starting to realize that what I've been talking about can become a reality. And I think there's a new sense of belief within the squad. I think the way the guys are playing, there's a bit more self-assurance within themselves. And every game just keeps on adding to what we discussed right at the beginning of our season, what our objectives are and what we want to achieve. And I think the guys are starting to realize, you know what, maybe we've got an outside chance here. Who knows? And that's all I need from them, starting to believe that this is possible.
Mate, that's brilliant talk. Brilliant, the kind of stuff that I think every side in South Africa. I mean, Mpumalanga Black Aces lost last night, which I was surprised at. But a sense of belief that in this country, any side can beat any side. As we saw, remember at the end of last season when I think Ajax beat Kaizer Chiefs, for instance, or was it Chipper? And there was that night in Cape Town where Chiefs and Pirates both went down. And I remember thinking, the South African PSL, for all the fact that we sometimes have a go at it and all that, it's very competitive, and that even at the tail end of last season when Kaizer Chiefs looked like a shoe-in, you had Platinum Stars banging away at them, and no one. I think you guys got a couple of draws.
One of the things I keep telling our guys is that we're not. Gone are the days as Swallows are going to stand back for any team. Those days are over. I'm not going to accept that anymore. And I think we put too much emphasis sometimes on the big guns because of financial resources. And I keep telling our guys that the most important resources are the players, not the finances. And we've got those resources at the moment. So I'm more than happy with that. And I think the players starting to realize, the mind, I work a lot with the mind of our players, a lot. I think it's one of the things I focus a lot on, tactical work and the mind. And I keep telling them that if we start believing and we start seeing that what we're capable of doing, number one. Number two, we start believing in our team. We start believing in your colleagues. And we work together as a unit. We're a small unit. We've got to work almost like sometimes as little rebels, because that's how rebels work. They're small little groups, and we can surprise anyone. We just got to go there with this aggressive attitude, no nonsense approach, stand back for no one. And I think last night was a good example of that. So I'm happy at the moment because the guys are really coming through on the psychological side. They're really coming through.
I'm trying to find the guy who sent me I think it was Trevor van Wyk on Twitter. He's a big SuperSport fan, and he said in no uncertain terms, the three Mlungus at the back for Swallows were too good. And I thought that was interesting. Can you just kind of run through your back four for me?
Well, we've got Levi as a left back. I think he's an exciting youngster. He's got all the qualities to be one of the left backs of the future, yeah. And then you've got Roger and Larry as the two centre backs. And then you've got Papi as the right back, also a no-nonsense approach. And then just in front of him we had Nerga. So I had a little triangle in the front, in the back. And you and I have spoken about this many, many times, about if you can get two centre backs, you can get more this, more that. And that's what I've tried. I've gone back to the old school of thought, all right, where you bring in two white kids, a no-nonsense approach, aggressive, take no prisoners, and that's what we want. And I think it's working for us.
Brilliant, mate. I love your quotes. I can't wait. The problem with me, I've been largely a written journalist all my life, and when I speak to someone like you, Zeca, I keep finding myself stopping and wanting to take the quotes out of what you're saying and kind of memorise them. The idea of taking no prisoners in South African football is still an important one. Sometimes it's forgotten. When you look sometimes last season at Platinum Stars, one of the reasons they didn't win the league is because they didn't take it. They did take prisoners. They backed off at times when I thought they should have come forward. If Moroka Swallows can approach the game, as you say, working on the mind, making sure you're not intimidated by the vast followings of Orlando Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs, and saying to people, you have a...
we expect this year as a challenge now.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. One of the oldest clubs in Africa. I went through a list of old clubs in Africa. I know the Egyptians are slightly older than us, but Swallows and Pirates go back a lot further than Kaizer Chiefs, funny enough. And you guys can bring the Swai, the Dube Birds legend, back to life this season, and that's obviously what you're saying to them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm a great believer that we are capable of really doing something special. And I've made the statement to our team. I've made it, don't quote me, but I've said that I want our team to be a study case at the end of the season. That's my main aim, because we're going to prove people wrong this year.
Excellent.
And that's the only way we can do this with the right mental approach and nothing else. And again, it's back to this old mentality of soldiering on. Take no shit, don't stand back, punch for punch, we're gonna compete. And we're not gonna be intimidated by names or anything. Those days are over.
Oh, Zeca, I love it, mate. I love to hear it. When people talk like this about football, then it kind of makes me want to go back out on the park myself at the age of 52 and do it. Get the slide tackle in when it's necessary.
That's the approach,
yeah, mate,
that's
absolutely
the approach.
right.
There's no doubt.
That's how it should be.
And, I've been around, I've seen how the guys are doing it, and I think for too many times we get a bit too complacent, and we try to patronize people, and we as I said, we put too much respect on Sundowns and Chiefs and Pirates, and I'm like, who the heck are they? Half of those players at Pirates and Chiefs and teams wouldn't make our team at the moment. So who the hell are they? That's my approach.
I'm going to get all this out, mate. I'm going to get all this out and make sure that people read exactly, what your change of approach is doing. And there you are at the top, mate. The proof is in the pudding. That Moroka Swallows are up there. On 10 points with SuperSport and with Amazulu. 3 rebels, I think, at the top of the table, with Wits a potential rebel somewhere, in mid-table at the moment, but potentially up there with you 4. And then Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, the big spenders, all thinking, how are we going to get back into this? Yeah.
No, that's fine. They can spend the money. We'll get the right resources.
Yeah.
The human being is our biggest resource. The mind is our biggest asset, and that's what we use.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Listen, your old mate Roger de Saar, your old teammates from your semi-pro days, your amateur days and your pro days, he's got a massive game on Sunday. What would you advise Peter Moroka Swallows fans who live in Soweto on Sunday afternoon at 2 or 3 o'clock?
Go out there and support football, number one. I think it's going to be a great match. Those games have always been something special to the Soweto people, and I think it's time that we go and support it in mass, because our support definitely encourages the players and it brings the best out of them. So let's go out there and support them, and may the best team win. Obviously, Roger being my friend, I rather want Roger to win.
Brilliant, mate. Exactly. That's what it would be so good for South African football to see us in the semi-finals of the African Champions League, particularly against Cameroon's Coton Sport, who are beatable. Esperance from Tunisia, quite a tough proposition, but Pirates should avoid them if they win. Zeca, good to see you and Roger, your old mates doing well.
At the end of the day, Pirates are representing our country, and we've got to get behind them. put everything aside and go and support for the pride of our country. And that's what we've got to do. You know, we've got to get together. These are the moments that we've got to show pride as a nation. Go and support Pirates.
Love it, Zex. Listen, great to talk to you. Stay at the top of the league, and we'll talk most weeks, mate.
Thank you.
And thanks for always making time for us. Cheers, Zeca.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Love it, mate.
Thanks. Cheers.
This is Bulls Visual Radio.